This video shows how we would troubleshoot a pump where the customer claims that they apply power to the motor and the pump doesn't start. One of the first things we'll do is we'll take the pump. You know, we have one wire or two wires coming out of the micro switch. One goes to power to connect. The other wire comes out of the back of the motor and into the switch, giving the switch power. And then, of course, power comes out of the switch. So the first thing we'll do is we'll disconnect. Well, we want to isolate whether the pump doesn't start condition has to do with a blown micro switch, or if it has to do with a problem in the motor. The way we can isolate that then is, as shown here, we'll go ahead and pull the cables. We'll pull the wires. I'll help me out here. We're going to pull the wires off of the switch. Okay, so we've taken that off, and then what we're going to do is, now we're going to take the wires that come straight out of the motor, and we're going to apply power to the motor to see if the motor is turning. So here we'll assume that we applied power to the unit to begin with, and sure enough, it didn't start. And we'll assume that right now what we're going to do is that the micro switch might be or might not be working. So we take the power leads, and we have just some gator clips attached to a power cord, which we then plug in. Okay, there's different ways of doing this, but just be careful, of course. And so we see the motor's turning. Okay, so applying power to the motor, we see the motor's turning. Conclusion is there's something wrong with the micro switch. So then, knowing that the motor is turning, we then focus our attention to the micro switch. We would then, we would remove the four screws that attach the micro switch onto the pump head. Thank you, Luis. And that removes the pressure switch housing, which is a spring-loaded mechanism. So as soon as you release the spring of the actuator, will basically disassemble the part. But here we have the actuator mechanism, and now we can see the micro switch in there, and we can pull the micro switch out. So what we would look for here is if it is a switch issue, sometimes you have a lot of moisture. You would see scale buildup or moisture buildup on the actuator or on some of the other parts, the spring. We're going to go ahead and pull out the micro switch. The micro switch here has a little, also an actuator. If you push that in and out, you can hear a clicking sound. Sometimes just immediately pushing that in and out and not hearing a clicking sound tells you that the micro switch is bad. It's broken inside. The other thing I forgot to mention is we take a look at the prongs as well. If the prongs show some carbonation and some discoloring, graying color, that can start giving you a clue that maybe there's a moisture-related weakening or a overheating. If the pump was in a rapid cycling condition for a long time, sometimes that rapid cycling is essentially causing some arcing, and the arcing would look like some carbonation at especially this top prong or the bottom prong, which are the two that are connected in our case. So these prongs actually look very, very normal. We would proceed to maybe pull the micro switch out of the housing.